secures it. Williams.
Chemistry. How close you are as a team is just as important as talent.
And this series is all tied at 1 apiece as the Boston Celtics never trail. And they even it up with a resounding win on their home floor.
How you respond is everything, and what you're made of comes to light in those moments. So you got to see what the Celtics was about.
I mean, remember, this team was 9th in the Eastern Conference on January 29th. You see their pre-All-Star stats to their post-All-Star stats. How about this? The Celtics made more three-pointers than two-pointers in their first 2 games of this series. They hit a new playoff franchise record, 23s in Game 2. The other part of that, 3D, knowing how important it is to hit the 3 and defend the 3, the Bucks made just 3 threes in that Game 2. How is it that the Celtics were able to make so many threes, but also defend the 3 so well?
I just think their chemistry is right where it needs to be. We go back to the middle of the season when Marcus Smart called the team out, everyone thought that was wrong. We talked about fans saying, or the naysayers, Tatum and Brown can't figure it out. But coming into this game when there was no Marcus Smart, we said someone else had to step up. Well, Grant Williams was that guy. We didn't know Grant Williams would come out and shoot the 3 the way he shot the 3. Coming out of Tennessee, he was a, 6'4", 5 man. So the fact that he's elevated his game and able to knock down 3-point shots off the draw and kick, very happy for him. And he was that X factor for the Celtics in Game 2.
And defensively, yeah, we talk about defending the 3, but defending Giannis, shooting 38% from the field in this series, hadn't shot 38% from the field in a game in the postseason in his career. How are they getting this done on Giannis?
Well, people at home, watch the circles. Al Horford, Time Lord, they're sacrificing their bodies. They're contesting the shot. They know how dangerous Giannis is coming downhill. They know how good Drew Holiday is attacking the defense. But you got to give Ime a lot of credit. These guys are really sacrificing, showing their body. Like I said, Grant Williams may be 6'5" with stilettos on. We know the Greek freak 6'11", but he's giving up his body. Look at Time Lord. Look at Derek White. All sets of eyes are waiting on him. They're building that wall, and they're not worried about the physicality. Now they get out and run. They run that Celtic fast break. You talk about 3-point shots. Well, you're getting wide open shots off a defensive transition.
Yeah, and kudos to the Celtics. They did it without the defensive player of the year,
That's
Marcus
right.
Smart in Game 2. But remember, Robert Williams was a person of discussion as being one of the best defensive players in the NBA. So Jaylen Brown, one of the most important players on this team, had 25 in that first half, but just 5 in the second half. And 3D, he was grabbing that hamstring. He says he's good to go for Game 3. But is there cause for concern that Jaylen Brown and his hamstring injury?
If he's telling me he's okay, I'm going to believe him. I know most guys that say that they're not going to make excuses at this point in the season. He's playing. He got out to a fast start. Remember, he got to the arena early because he didn't shoot the ball particularly well in Game 1. I think he was 5 of 13. So that lets me know he's taking his craft serious. He's going to get the right treatment to make sure the hamstring ready to go. I think he'll play well.
For the Bucks in Game 3, how do they come out with the win?
Well, one thing we know about the Deer District, they're going to be ready to play. That place is going to be crazy, and Giannis is going to set the table. But make sure you keep an eye on Drew Holiday. In Game 2, off to a slow start, a few uncharacteristic turnovers. He gets back home, gets more comfortable. He plays better basketball.
Yeah, you know a thing or two about being in Milwaukee for
Yes,
a big
I
playoff
do.
game. You were just there for the Bulls and Bucks series. CP3 saved his best for last. He's been doing that. Of his 28 in the fourth to put the Mavs away in Game 2, but that's nothing new. In the playoffs so far, look at his fourth quarter scoring, 10 points per game in the final frame. Suns won by 20 on Wednesday. That Phoenix backcourt combined to score 58. Let's check in with the Suns.
I'd love to sit here and tell you I knew why or how he does it. I don't know if our guys expect it, but I know they're grateful for it, and you can kind of see it. When he starts going, everybody else just follows suit.
I was a spectator. I got to watch it from the bench, and you guys tell me you're watching the same thing, man. It impresses us every time we see it, but it doesn't surprise us. It's just the will to win. He sees a matchup he likes, and you could hear their bench yelling him, send him left. You can try whatever you want to do, but he has a rebuttal move for you every time.
What's amazing is, it feels like for the first 2 quarters, he's relaxed. He's chilling. He's not too aggressive. He's just reading the game, and then he has a switch where he just turns it on.
Luka was rolling, but in the third quarter, you know, he had 2 points and 3 turnovers. What were the Suns doing to effectively kind of limit him?
Yeah, he had a great game, but no one else showed. So, you know, we got to get other guys shooting the ball better. We can't win with just him out there scoring 30 a night. We got to get other guys going.
I mean, the mood is fine. They got to win 4, so it's not over yet. We're going to go back home. Our crowd is amazing, so we're going to believe till the end.
All right, it wasn't just the fourth quarter in game 2. You saw the stats we just put on your screen. 14 for 14 in a closeout game against the Pelicans.
Oof.
3D, he's 36 years old. How is it possible that he's playing arguably the best basketball of his career now?
He took a page out of what Tom Brady's book. He's vegan now, I think. He's eating better. He's taking better care of his body. So that's been one of the knocks the last couple of years. Every time Chris Paul's gotten close, he's had some type of freak injury to hold him back, right? But let's just keep the blessings going. He's doing all the right things to take care of his body. Last night, we tried to compare him and Luka with the balls being in their hand in the fourth quarter. The reason he's the point guard because Booker's eating, Ayton's eating, you know, everyone else is eating throughout the game. So when the fourth quarter comes, Chris Paul goes, wait a minute, it's time for me to attack that person. It's time for me to attack this pick and roll. It's time for me to get into the paint. Let me get some long rebounds. The point guard's supposed to get. Hey, Luka, come guard me. You blocked my shot in game 1. Come get the rest of this. That's why everyone's going crazy. Can Luka play defense? He showed us in game 1. You remember when he's moving his feet? He blocked Chris Paul's shot on the baseline. We remember that. That made Chris Paul mad. Chris Paul said, come do it again in game 2. He couldn't do it in the fourth quarter. He was cooking him, right? And that's why everyone's at home excited. At 36 years old, I think 37 next couple of days, Chris Paul is proving why he's arguably the best point guard we've seen in a long time. You know, Magic Johnson's my favorite, but Chris Paul's in that conversation.
By the time they tip off for game 3, he'll be 37 years old.
There you go.
I like how you just did the sensei thing, like, come here, sensei style.
Come see me.
Yeah, but Luka averaging 40, but also 6 turnovers a game. And like you said, game 2 exposed on defense. Is that the next level for Luka? Like, we know he can score, put up the assists, but to get the turnovers down and to be better on defense?
If he's watching film, if he's paying attention to Jason Kidd, arguably one of the best point guards to ever do it, that's a great mentor to have as your coach. Look at how Jason Kidd, why we used to say he was the best point guard. He was the best at throwing the ball ahead, letting other people eat. That's where you take a page out of Chris Paul's book. Let everyone else eat. Let Dinwiddie eat. Brunson was eating when he was out. He proved to everybody he can get 40, he can get 38 with you back. Now he's sitting there watching. Let everyone else eat because in the fourth quarter, the ball's going to be in your hand like Chris Paul and you can still take over. Take a little piece here and there and now give us the effort on the defensive end like you showed us in game 1, and maybe you'll stop getting called out saying, come see me.
Speaking of point guard, fourth quarter takeovers.
Right.
There's another young point guard doing it.
Defense.
Final note on the Warriors. 5 for 23, Stephen Clay from three-point range in game 2. Wiggins and Poole, 2 for 13. How did they correct that in game 3?
A little concerned about Clay. Because he's the one that's been gone for 2 years. Yes, he's excited. Yes, he was frustrated after missing 2 free throws. He came back with a good defense. But the shots he was missing in game 2 wasn't characteristic of Klay Thompson. I think he responds in game 3.
Oh, I thought you were going to say simply, Chris, they got to learn to leave it for the Golden State Warriors. That's 3D. I'm Chris Miles. Thanks for hanging out with us on Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T 5G.
There you go. Leave it.
Welcome into our NBA TV studios and WNBA Weekly. I'm Kristen Ledlow alongside the WNBA champion and Atlanta Dream owner and executive, Renee Montgomery. We're here with you for the next half hour to look to the season ahead. So let's start, as always, with Renee's rundown. What do we got?
Let's go, Kristen. I'm excited for another season with you. So in this 26th season of the WNBA, there's been a lot of exciting movement. Let's start with Liz Cambage, who's leaving the Aces and heading now to Hollywood, baby. She's going to be suiting up with the Sparks. Then Tina Charles, former MVP, is now leaving the Mystics and heading
Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by AT&T 5G. I'm Chris Miles, and that's 3D. He's back in studio, so you know what we say. We're doing it like we're doing it to do it for TV.
Let's do it.
Round 2, Game 3's coming up, but before we get you ready for Friday's action, let's go over some updates from around the league, because a lot of things happening affecting the games. And we start with Gary Payton II will miss a month, that fractured elbow. Only way he returns is if the Warriors make it to the finals. Dillon Brooks was ejected for that flagrant 2 in Game 2. He's now been suspended for Game 3. So 3D, does that punishment fit the crime? Because essentially he's missing 2 games for that foul.
Yeah, I think most people understand after watching that, you know, it's the wind-up, I think, catches the casual fan by guard, because when you're going to block a shot, it's your natural movement to try to wind your arm up to block it. But we all understand, you have to understand that Gary Payton Jr. is leaving the ground, the way he's falling. So I'm not mad. Some people wanted 2 games. I'll take the 1 game. But big picture for the Warriors, he was the best fit. I know Ja had the 47. Ja's, averaged, 41 and some change in the 2 games. But the way we know Gary Payton II could put pressure on him all game long, and that's his specialty. And he was knocking down enough threes to kind of make himself favorable on the other side of the floor as well. So he's going to be sorely missed if the Warriors make it to the finals.
Absolutely. He was in the starting lineup because of his ability to defend. Also had 10 points in the fourth quarter in that Game 1 win.
He was solid.
Very valuable piece. Sad to see him go down. Ben Simmons had back surgery. The Nets announced microdiscectomy procedure to alleviate pain caused by a herniated disc. Recovery time is 3 to 4 months. Thought is he'll be ready for training camp next year, so best wishes to Ben Simmons. The 76ers also dealing with multiple injuries to their MVP finalist Joel Embiid. We know that he has the concussion, the orbital fracture, and a torn ligament in his thumb. So here is Chris Haynes on an update on Joel Embiid.
As the series shifts to Philadelphia with Miami up 2-0, the million-dollar question is, will we see Joel Embiid in Game 3?
I really don't know. He looked good as far as talking, but there's no, he's got so many steps to go through. I don't think he's cleared any of them right now, so we just have to wait and see.
I love Joel, but I do not think about Joel every single moment of my life. I'm just being honest with you, yeah. But we are all hopeful that he comes back and can play, and we want him to be healthy because we know how good we are with him.
It's clear the Sixers will have to do a lot more to make this series compelling. As for Joel Embiid, I had a text conversation with him. He said the sensitivity of the light of the phone was causing pain. Game 3 is Friday.
Now, here's an update on that situation. According to Woj, he's currently listed as out for Game 3, but there's still progress that could be made to change his availability versus the Heat on Friday. Again, with those multiple injuries, there's concussion protocol, right? There's the orbital fracture. He missed the first 2 games of this series, and the 76ers lost both of those by double figures. So, 3D, if you're the Philadelphia 76ers, you have an MVP finalist. With all that's on the table, we know the record. No team has ever come back from being down 3-0. There seems like there's desperation to do whatever it takes to get him back on the floor.
This may be the toughest decision for the Sixers today versus what they had to make in the beginning of what we call now the process. The process is arguably the MVP this year, Chris, right? Some people may think the Joker, most people think Embiid. But with those multiple injuries you're letting the fans at home learn about, the thumb, the concussion, now the eye, why would you take that chance? And now you're asking him to put a mask on? This is the NBA Finals. So the game is more physical, more intense, more elbows, more, bodies are flaring around. I don't know if I'm upstairs, I'm saying, wait a minute, we're not playing great basketball. James Harden's not James Harden. And for all you people keep asking, James Harden from Houston? Well, James Harden from Houston is still in Houston. This is the James Harden in Sixers. Stop asking for the James Harden in Brooklyn. That guy's gone. That was 4 or 5 years ago. So you got to live with the James Harden today. And that James Harden today is not the same. And now you're asking the MVP candidate who's banged up to play through all this. And knowing that he's getting a little old, it means that old. But my point is, you still have some good years left for Embiid. So figure out how you can put better pieces around him for the future versus maybe forcing him back to come back now because you're desperate and something else happens.
Quickly, for James Harden, 7 points per game in the second half of playoff games, shooting under 40% in the postseason. Is he still better than those numbers, though?
I think he is. James Harden, some way, somehow, have fun playing basketball again, get back to attack mode, get down here and figure out a way to get back to the free throw line.
Speaking of injuries, how about the Boston Celtics dealing with one with Jaylen Brown? He had 25 in the first half of